a lot of attitude.
I work at a dealership. I'm a warranty administrator. I cannot be insured by the dealership chain. Second off,
Do we have the email yet or no? Okay, thank you. We're getting the email. Miss Sumter, are we still going for an informal hearing? I can't hear you.
we will go second one.
Okay, so let's call that case. SP 4370763, recalling it. This is State of Michigan versus Elise Ann Sumter Demnick. Let the record reflect that I previously called this case. I explained the defendant the options this morning. She wanted to go for an informal hearing. She indicated she sent an email to the court. We're retrieving the email. I then stated the consequences of going through an informal hearing. Have you changed your choice in this matter?
Yes, we will go for guilty with an explanation.
Okay, what would you like the trooper to hear?
First off, if I receive a ticket for 4 points, I will lose my job. I work at a dealership. I'm a warranty administrator. I cannot be insured by the dealership chain. Second off, the email documentation I sent over as I was trying to.
Okay, wait a minute, Miss Sumter.
Yep.
I'm sensing through the Zoom, and I may be wrong, like a lot of attitude. Okay. If you want to argue this case, I have a clear docket after this. I am glad to give you all the time that you want to present the case that you want for an informal hearing. The risk on the informal hearing is that you may exit the hearing with the ticket being dismissed and no points. It's either or it's going to, you'll exit the hearing with a ticket going 16 to 20 over. Okay, that's your choice. In your heart of hearts, if you do not believe that you are responsible, you should have the hearing that you want. If you do not want to take that risk, the middle option is admitting responsibility, but here are the mitigating circumstances. You sat through the whole hearing with Sergeant this morning. You saw what people did, how they conducted themselves, and how that was received by the sergeant. No guarantee you're getting the same deal. So if you want to go for the full informal hearing, I'm happy to do that for you. I'm getting the email, and if you don't like the outcome on the informal hearing, either the sergeant or you can file an appeal and have the matter heard with the trial judge. Okay? Those are your options. I'm glad to do anything for you that you would like this morning.
I apologize if I'm coming across as having attitude. I have a lot of things going through my head that I want to say right now, so I'm trying to get them all out before I forget them.
So what do you want to do? Because I'm happy to give you the hearing.
We will do the secondary option.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell the officer what was going on at the time, mitigating circumstances, how you conducted yourself on the stop, that you would like him to consider to perhaps show you grace.
Well, mitigating.
Okay, so the first is you can't live with a 4-point ticket. It would have severe consequences for your employment and insurance, and therefore, could you have some consideration, please? I heard that.
Okay.
All right. What's the next point?
Secondary. I was trying to get past several cars that were behind him going below the speed limit on the expressway. I do not feel that my vehicle reached the limit that he has documented on there based on the email I did send over. Because unfortunately, I work in automotive. I deal with multiple variations of problems with vehicles. I just had the transmission replaced in my Jeep as of yesterday.
Okay.
The component that was bad was the valve body, which controls the fluids running through the transmission, which means the vehicle would not shift to accelerate from 70 miles per hour to
Okay,
80.
it sounds to me you're not accepting responsibility, that you're saying there's no way. Do you want a hearing? Because you're accepting responsibility. So I don't know why we're fighting about whether or not went the speed limit. You said, I admit responsibility for the ticket as written, and now we're getting into, I had bad belts and my engine couldn't do this. You've admitted responsibility. So that means I admit I was going what the ticket says I did, and here's why.
So
And
here are the
this is why I'm asking the court to show me, not the court, the state of Michigan to show me consideration. Okay.
here,
I
here's
have
the
your email. Go ahead.
okay. The factors though, if I go to a trial and there is 1% off on this, I could be hit with 4 points and lose my job.
Okay. Uh,
Uh,
every action has consequences. That is the truth of life. I get the repair order. I got you had to check engine light. Okay. We're not getting into whether or not the car was going what it did because you admitted responsibility.
yeah,
Okay. So we're not getting into that the ticket is wrong. We're assuming by your selection, the ticket is right. You've asked saying that you have a financial worry. You have risk to your job. I've heard that the circumstances on the road were that people were driving slowly behind the cop, as people tend to do on the road when they see a cop. And therefore you sped up and you don't think it was possible, or that you could maybe were not aware that you were going as fast as the officer paced you at. Is that
correct,
far? Have I summarized it correctly?
correct.
Okay. Anything else you'd like the sergeant to consider?
And I do apologize for having an attitude with you. I was highly stressed out. It was the anniversary of my father's death, and I was trying to get over to the cemetery to put flowers out, and then hit my boyfriend's house because I needed a hug.
I'm sorry, I lost my dad 10 years this year, and I know what the car ride to the cemetery is like. It can be triggering. So when you say my attitude, is that to me or to the officer when he pulled you over?
To the officer when he pulled me over, and I do apologize if I'm giving you an attitude now.
Okay. So one time when I was a young lawyer, I was more aggressive than I thought I was, and this very learned judge told me this saying, you get more bees with honey than with vinegar, and I had no idea what it was. And then I learned that if I was less whatever the word is, that sometimes things work out better for me. So keep that in mind, please. Sergeant James has a job to do on the side of the road, and when he sees someone driving, he doesn't know that you're coming from the dad's cemetery. He knows that you're breaking the law. He knows that you're driving in dangerous conditions, and he and the fellow officers, they risk their life pulling people over and being on those roads. It's just a couple months ago that one of these officers were killed, doing a stop. And you have your agenda for the day, ma'am, of it's a really bad day for you. It's the anniversary of your dad's death. You're trying to get somewhere, you're upset, people are in your way, but you are traffic to other people. Do you understand me? Like, you're presenting danger to other people who really, it's irrelevant about how our feelings are. We have to keep everybody safe. And being angry to Mr. James, who's taken an oath to keep people safe, you know, or being angry to this court that there are 4 points assigned to your ticket, we can't do anything about that. That doesn't make your situation better. I understand. I know how you felt that day. I have that day once a year myself, and I appreciate the emotion at play. Okay, so officer, having heard the explanation from Ms. Sumter, is there anything you would like the court to consider?
Well, ma'am, I appreciate Ms. Sumter admitting to somewhat of her attitude. I'd say it's extremely rude at the time, um, extremely hostile at the time. And once again, she did not admit any type of responsibility at the time. It was completely argumentative, without any type of real explanation other than it was not possible. Once again, I feel she hasn't admitted responsibility today. or taking any responsibility for her actions today. With that being said, however, I don't want anyone to jeopardize their employment. I am willing to offer a reduction that will qualify her for the basic driver improvement course, which she passed. If she passes, we'll wipe all the points off on her end. But I'd like to offer a reduction to a limited access speed, 11 miles an hour over.
A limited access 11 plus, or there's a weird breakdown in that. Let me just look. Limited access, is it the 11 to 15 over? Or
The
6
base
to 10?
11,
The
the
6 to
11 miles an
10?
hour.
I spoke over you and I need
The
you to
11 miles an hour.
11, okay, 11 plus. Okay, so he's reduced this from the 16 to 20 point, which I don't even know how many points that is, to 11 over, which is $170, and it's lesser points, right, sir?
Yes,
It's,
ma'am.
Okay,
It-
any objection to that, Miss Sumter?
ma'am, I just Googled it. It is 3 points and I cannot have more than 2 on my license.
Okay, well, this is what he's offering, and this is where we are. Oh, by the way, we don't control the points, so I can't write on here only assess 1 point. That's between you and the
Right.
Secretary of State.
Unfortunately, can't have 3 points on my license. I will lose my job. Anything above 2.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's where we are in the hearing. That this is the offer being made to you.
I guess I have to accept the offer, unfortunately, and I'm going to be jobless.
Additionally, what you're looking up, ma'am, is incorrect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I stated.
Okay, let's just clarify this.
And you do have the ability through the Secretary of State to wipe those additional points if you pass a driving course. Completely wipe those points.
Yeah, it's called being able to take the time off of work to do that. I take care of my
It's
son.
online.
Okay,
It's called a basic
we're
driver
not,
improvement
okay,
course.
listen, we're not getting in for tit for tat, ma'am. We've been over backwards to accommodate you here today, and because it's a limited access, 11 over, I do believe it's 2 points, but that's between you and the Secretary of State. But here, you've admitted responsibility. We've gone through everything. I've spoon fed you this as much as possible, but you continue to insist on being more adversarial and combative than is desirous to Mr. James or myself. So this is where we are. You've made your selection. He's made the motion. Do you admit responsibility to limited access 11 over? If you have buyer's remorse tomorrow, you can file whatever motion you believe is in your best interest to file.
I asked for just one thing. I'm
Go
not
Go ahead.
anything
Go ahead.
clear on how many points it actually is.
Okay, that's between you and the Secretary of State. It's not on the ticket. It's not on anything available to me. And I don't know it because I do not control points, like I said.
I understand that. The officer said
One
you have
sec.
something wrong. That's why I asked.
I don't know. I don't have it readily available. I have a full docket. So the motion is limited access 11 and over. I'm going to grant it. I find you responsible for limited access 11 plus over. The fines and costs on that are $170. How long do you need to pay?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. The court will give you 14 days to pay. You may do so online, in person. We're always happy to have you here, or you may mail us a check. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you, Sergeant James. Everyone be safe on the road.
All right, thank you, Magistrate.
Okay. Wait. Yeah, that clears your docket.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
Dewana Moss.
Okay. Who's the person with Samsung on the?
Dewana Moss.
Okay, 1 second, please.